About 2 years ago, I bought the Moment Cinebloom Diffusion filters and I have not looked back since. I've used them on just about every short film I've made and I have to say I absolutely love working with them. So today I'm going to show you the enhancements that you'll get by using a Moment Cinebloom Diffusion filter and what the difference is in terms of strength visually between not using one, using a 10% strength and using a 20% strength. There is a 5%, but the subtlety of that is so subtle I don't think it's really worth using, so we'll stick with what I've got for today. Now for this video I'll be using the screw-on threads of these filters, 37mm for the 20% and using a step-up ring so I can use the 52mm thread for my 10% Cinebloom Diffusion filter. That way I can keep it nice and snug on the phone. The first benefit of using a Moment Cinebloom Diffusion filter is it will enhance your softness. So with 0% not using a filter at all, you'll see that you get quite a harsh edge around the face, my hair, my shirt, the fence in this image, very digital. Then with the 10%, you get much more of a traditional film look, much softer compared to a smartphone. It's quite a giveaway when you're filming a smartphone film that is quite sharp and digital. Not all the time, but it is one of the giveaways, so using a filter can eliminate that. The next benefit is it can actually remove skin blemishes. So as you can see in this image on the left without a diffusion filter, you can see the red hue of my skin really coming through the blemishes of my skin, whereas with the 10% it hides it almost completely, giving you a softer image and giving you a much cleaner skin tone as well, which is quite hard on a phone. As you can imagine with Cinebloom diffusion filters, they bloom your highlights. So if there's lights like the lamppost at the top of the screen here in this shot, you can see that the blooming effect really comes into its own. It gives you that kind of magical feel with the 20% especially. It's quite a strong look, and with the 0 you can see, whilst you get a tiny bit of bloom from the lights naturally, it's nothing compared to what you get with a diffusion filter. The bloom effect from the Cinebloom diffusion filters comes apparent here as well. With the 0% you got that digital look, a little bit of blooming from the sun coming through the clouds is only natural, but nothing much to talk about. When you go to 20%, it takes over almost the whole image. The bloom effect is very strong, something you might use for like a music video or something like that, or maybe a heavenly kind of vibe you're going for. When you see them side by side, it's quite a dramatic difference. So it's not going to be for everyone to 20%, but if you want to get something that's going to be quite dreamy, quite mythical, this is some way to go. Now the first thing I noticed when using a Cinebloom diffusion filter is the production value increase you get by using them. So at 0% you can get nice shots, you can do all of those kind of things with your framing, your composition, with smartphone filmmaking, and make something really nice. But when you add a 10% diffusion filter, for example, it just ups the production value tenfold, and I have to say I'm really excited by the looks that you can get with these. I've been using them for a while, and the 10% is a very film-like look, really natural look as well. Now with the 20%, it's a bit different. Again, it's going to be that dreamy look, it's going to be sort of otherworldly, and you do get this look in Hollywood films, probably more in rom-coms I imagine, but this is quite a good look. These side-by-sides are really useful as well to see the differences in blooming. The 0%, obviously the lights aren't that strong there, but then the 10% you're seeing much more of the bloom, and the 20% at the top right there you can see the difference really clearly. Now with the daytime shots, the sunlight here coming from the right hand side is really nice with the 0% as it is, and you can get really nice beautiful shots. But when we add a different diffusion filter, the 10% for example, you get almost like a halo effect on the image, and it gives a lot of beauty to the shot as well, and in doing so it gives you much more of a production value. Moving to the 20%, again, as we've seen before, it's a very, very dramatic look. So this is going to be something for a very romantic feel or something that's quite moody. Another thing that's really great about these filters is that they're useful for just about any kind of location. So even in nature like this shot, you can get something really magical from it. So at 0% you can get that nice framing. Then with a 10%, it just adds something, again, with much more Hollywood feel, production value. It feels like a really nice shot you'd see in an actual film rather than sort of an amateur film. The 20% makes it feel again like something from The Hobbit or something like that. A really, really kind of strong look. And I personally wouldn't use it for this kind of shot, but you might do. And when you see them side by side, you can see how dramatically the shots change with each different type of diffusion filter. The saturation as well can change a lot with these. So at 0%, if you look at the yellow curtains here and the buildings in the background, they look quite nice and popping. Then when you go to 10%, that fades just a little bit. So that works with the blemishes that we mentioned earlier on as well. And then with the 20%, it takes quite a lot of the saturation out while still leaving some of the color there. So you could use this for a number of different things, depending on what kind of projects you're making. By the way, if you're getting value from this video, guys, do hit that subscribe and like button. It really helps this channel grow. Now for those of you who don't know, golden hour is the first hour of sunlight in the day and the last hour of sunlight as it goes down in the evening/afternoon. If you match that golden hour time period with a Cinebloom diffusion filter like I have done here, you can make the simplest shots look absolutely beautiful. Even just as far as by a window suddenly looks really Hollywood-like and really majestic just by using a Cinebloom diffusion filter matched with that golden hour timing. So if you can do that, you can get spectacular things out of these filters. Now, distance really doesn't make a huge difference when you're using these diffusion filters. With a regular phone without any filters on, it looks nice with the lights in the background. When you move to 10%, even at this distance from the lights further down the pathway that are about 30 feet from me, you still get that bloom effect. So it's really nice whatever you're filming, even if it's something quite far in the distance that's a landscape shot, for example with the 20%, you're still going to get that bloom effect. It doesn't matter whether you're close up, where you'll get a strong effect, or further away, you'll still get that effect. Here you can see really clearly the 0% is a very clean and digital look, the 10% is going to give you a much more film-like quality, and a 20% is going to be something quite out of this world. By the way guys, if you are interested in buying these filters, there's a link in the description down below. It's an affiliate link, which means if you do buy through that link, I do get a small kickback, which helps me make more videos. This is a fun short film called Lucky the Dog that I made during the pandemic with a 10% diffusion filter, and I do think it lends itself really well to this kind of film. This was sort of a working class type of film, but still gives it that softness that makes you take it seriously as a proper professional made film. Now, whilst the actual strength of the filter doesn't affect the price, the size of them does. So the 37mm that I use, the smallest one for my 20%, is only $30, but the larger ones that I use are up to about $70. Now, Moment really are one of the leading brands when it comes to smartphone filmmaking accessories and equipment, which is why I used the Moment's 58mm telephoto lens on my latest short film Anxiety Train. I use it on just about every shot, so if you want to learn about that lens and why you should be using it and when to use it, check out my video right here, right now.